Welcome to this week's Bible Topics discussion. We're glad you're with us today. Today we're talking about having zeal or being zealous. Zeal can be defined as focused desire, characterized by passion and commitment. The Bible often describes God and his followers as zealous. In the Old Testament, particularly the NIV, zeal is found 16 times and zealous 6 times. In the New Testament NIV, zeal is found 5 times and zealous 7 times. Typically, the Hebrew and Greek words for zeal or zealous also carry an idea of jealousy, specifically God's jealousy for his people and his honor.
God is described many times as having zeal. 2 Kings chapter 19 verse 31 says, "For out of Jerusalem shall go a remnant, and out of Mount Zion a band of survivors. The zeal of the Lord will do this." Isaiah chapter 9 verse 7 says, "Of the increase of his government and of peace there will be no end, on the throne of David and over his kingdom, to establish it and to uphold it with justice and with righteousness from this time forth and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this." These verses tell us that the Lord's zeal is the cause of providing a remnant for Israel and establishing the reign of the Messiah. Deuteronomy chapter 29 verse 29 says, "The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things that are revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law." Ezekiel chapter 38 verse 19 tells us, "For in my jealousy and in my blazing wrath I declare, on that day there shall be a great earthquake in the land of Israel." So God's fiery wrath is often tied to his zeal and directed toward the enemies of God, or those who fail to listen to him. In John chapter 2 verses 13 through 17, Jesus displayed zeal when, in his devotion to God's glory, he overturned the money changers' tables and cleansed the temple of their greed.
Followers of the Lord have also been called zealous in the Bible. Phinehas displayed zeal for the Lord by taking action to stop a plague and judge the idolatry of Israel, as told in Numbers chapter 25 verses 1 through 9. The Lord declared that Phinehas' zeal reflected his own zeal for his honor in Numbers chapter 25 verses 10 through 13. Elijah also demonstrated zeal for the Lord in his showdown with the priest of Baal on Mount Carmel, as told in 1 Kings chapter 18 verses 20 through 40. In Romans chapter 12 verse 11 it says, "Do not be slothful in zeal, be fervent in spirit, serve the Lord." This command for New Testament believers is to never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor serving the Lord.
Zeal for the Lord is a positive attribute, but zeal can be misplaced. We can have single-minded desire characterized by enthusiasm and devotion for the wrong things. Saul's zeal was misdirected when he destroyed the Gibeonites, as told in 2 Samuel chapter 21 verse 2. Romans chapter 10 verses 2 and 3 says, "For I bear them witness that they have a zeal for God, but not according to knowledge. For being ignorant of the righteousness of God, and seeking to establish their own, they did not submit to God's righteousness. For being ignorant of the righteousness of God, and seeking to establish their own, they did not submit to God's righteousness." Paul describes the unbelieving Jews of his day as zealous for God, but their zeal is not based on knowledge, since in their rejection of Christ, they did not submit to God's righteousness.
Paul himself was zealous in persecuting the church before he was saved. In his misplaced zeal, he gave approval to Stephen's murder. After Paul was radically transformed by the gospel, his zeal was applied toward expanding the knowledge of Christ to as many people as he could. Romans chapter 15 verse 20 tells us, "And thus I make it my ambition to preach the gospel, not where Christ has already been named, lest I build on someone else's foundation." Galatians chapter 4 verse 17 says, "They make much of you, but for no good purpose. They want to shut you out, that you may make much of them." Here Paul warned the Galatians against false teachers who were zealous in trying to win the Galatians over to their teaching.
Well, that's it for this week. Please like, comment, and share. If you have questions or suggestions for future topics, please let us know. Zeal can be good or bad, depending on its objective. It's fine to be zealous, provided the purpose is good. Our zeal is also to be consistent and sincere, not just to put on a show. For Christians, we should be zealous in serving Jesus and telling others of the life-saving power of the gospel.
See you next week. Be blessed.